In 1972, my guest said he had a burning vision that would see a nationwide revival in Canada. And at that time, Bill Prankard was pastoring a small church in Eastern Ontario. For more than 50 years, Bill has held on to that vision in his heart and his mind, and now says that vision is starting to happen. He is the founder and president of Bill Prankard Evangelistic Association. He has preached the gospel all over Canada, all over the world, done amazing ministry in Northern Canada. And Bill has a brand new book. It's called Vision, Pursuing Your Life's Mission. Bill, good to see you again. Welcome to 100 Huntley Street.
Thank you so much, Greg. Great to be here.
Yeah, it's good to see you. I know you've been on the program a couple of times.
Well, I was on the first broadcast with David when it started in Toronto. Yeah.
And all these years later, you're still there. Okay, now, 1972. Tell me about this vision. What was it and how did it happen?
Well, amazing, because vision changes everything. I mean, it gives you purpose, gives you passion, and it gives you everything. And without vision, I mean, there's no real purpose.
Right.
And so I went to Kathryn Kuhlman's service in Pittsburgh in 1972 with a group, came back, revival broke out. I mean, real revival. I mean, hundreds of people were coming to our little town, getting healed, touched, saved. It was amazing. And I'm trying to figure out what to do with it. And people are saying, I wonder how long this is going to last. Because normally, that's, you do that and then you just go back.
Right.
And one night I was sitting on a rock looking over Muskrat Lake by the Ottawa Valley Pentecostal camp. And God gave me a vision. And it was, Greg, it was so real. It was so, I saw Canada. I saw Canada in revival. Not as it was, not as it is now, but as it will be. I saw the glory of God right across Canada. I saw the fire of God around the Arctic Circle. I saw 1,000 young people on the streets of Ottawa, not just, passing out tracts, but seeing people healed and set free. And I saw stadiums that hadn't even been built, filled with young adults getting touched and set free and healed. And I just knew. I knew that's what God was going to do here in Canada, and I knew I'd give my life to it. So we've restricted most of our ministry. I haven't gone to the States. When I go to the States to visit, nobody knows me, so it's good, so good, because I knew I'd give my life to see the vision fulfilled. And in 1972, I started to decree, Canada shall be saved. I saw it. And there was a lot of opposition. A lot of people said, no, that can't happen. Look, we're multicultural, we're multi-this and multi-faith, all this stuff. I said, I've seen it. Somebody asked me, Greg, a year or so ago, what do you see the future of Canada? Because if you watch the news, it's really dark.
Pretty depressing.
And I said, well, I know what the future of Canada is because I've seen it. I've seen it. But I started a couple of years ago, I stopped saying Canada shall be saved. And I started saying Canada is being saved. Most people heard about truckers coming to our city, Ottawa, where I live. And there were hundreds of young adults from all over Canada came to Ottawa, not to protest, but to minister.
Yes.
Because there's so many people there. I mean, the first weekend, I think 35 truckers gave their lives to Christ, were baptized in water. And they were sending me, Greg, they were sending me videos, they were sending me FaceTime, they were sending me pictures. Out on the streets, hundreds of these young adults seeing people healed and set free. And I said to my wife, I said, Gwen, I've seen this. Before any of them were born, I saw it.
Again, this is something that was not being reported on the news.
No, I know. That's why we have to have Huntley Street.
That's absolutely. So just backing up, though, for those who are listening, well, what does he mean by a vision? Is it something you saw? Was it in your mind? Or is it kind of like watching TV? What was it like?
It kind of was like watching TV, and I haven't had many of these in my lifetime, but I mean, it was so real. I mean, nobody else would see it because, when Paul had a vision on the road to Damascus, he saw Jesus. Nobody else saw Jesus, but they saw him see Jesus.
Yeah, they knew something was going on. Yeah.
And I think if people had been, I was there all alone, but if somebody had been with me, they saw me seeing something. And it was so real, so clear. And so, I've carried this for 51 years.
How have you carried it for 51 years? You and Gwen, you had this vision in 1972, and it wasn't like you just said, okay, we're just going to sit back, we're going to wait, we're going to have this revival. You've done ministry, you've preached all over the land, and as I mentioned, very significant in the north. But what has kept you going, Bill?
Vision. Vision, people with vision are very intentional. I hang around people with vision. Every day I connect with people with vision. They're positive. They're happy because it gives you purpose. And I knew God was going to do it. I didn't know it would take 51 years to see it happen. But, this June, I was in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, of all places. Terrell Smith, dear friend now, who I didn't know before a year or so ago, rented the stadium there. And thousands of people came. Hundreds gave their lives to Christ. I mean, this is in Saskatoon, Greg. I said to Terrell, if they can do it in Saskatoon, he can do it anywhere.
It's a great city, by the way.
It is. It's an amazing city. But
love it.
One night, Saturday night, 150 young adults got baptized in water. And I sat there crying. It was exactly what I saw. So I just knew. I knew I'd be alive to see it. And I also knew I'd be right in the middle of it.
So you knew that because, we know of stories of missionaries that have gone into some pretty remote places, never saw one convert. Yeah. And it was after their life had ended and then things started to happen. But you knew that it was different. I did. I knew I'd be here to see it. And, so I knew it was going to happen soon because, the clock is ticking here. I said, I'm at the age now where in my obituary, the word untimely will not be in it. People say, well, he had a good life. I knew. And so, I have a lot of acquaintances, but I have a lot of friends, and most of my friends are young. They're young adults. And I say the reason for that is most people my age are either old or dead. And many have decided that they're just going to quit. They're going to retire, whatever. But this vision gave me the passion to keep going and do whatever I could. And so you keep stepping out and see fires starting here and there. And over the years, there have been great things happening across Canada. But now it's happening. And, people watch the news, as I said, and they say, well, it's going to be bad. Look what the government's doing. Look what this is doing. Greg, the devil is not going to write the last chapters in the history of Canada. If you check the record, the devil's never won anything yet. He's had so many things that looked like he did, like Good Friday, looked like he won, but didn't turn out very good for him. And so God's already decided what the future of our nation is. And it is that Jesus will have dominion from sea to sea, from the river to the ends of the earth. So we've given our life going sea to sea and from the river right to the Arctic Circle and past. I was just up there. And by the way, they're watching Huntley Street in the Arctic Circle. Hi, Arctic Circle. We love you guys.
But it's great. So I started writing about vision because so many young people ask the question, as you do, as a young person, you ask the question, how do you keep this vision? Mm-hmm. And because every believer has a vision, has a dream, has a purpose. Most people reject it because it's too big, it's impossible, it's something they can't do. Well, if it's not all those three, then it's probably not God.
That's right.
But you grab a hold of it, and then you become very intentional in what you do, because a vision, it helps you. Like over the years, we've had so many opportunities to do this and this and this and this. But you say, how does this fit in with the mandate? How does it fit in with the vision? And so most people, when they start following a vision, then their God ideas, then they go for good ideas. Oh, we could do this and this, and they miss it. We are living in a day when people can't miss it. They can't live in frustration anymore. And that's why I wrote the book, Vision Pursuing Your Life's.
And you've got, biblical characters in there. Also, you mentioned Kathryn Kuhlman and others that have done amazing things for God's kingdom. And I know as I've been reading, Vision, Pursuing Your Life's Mission, Bill, is that it has sparked something in me. Now, I work with a persecuted church. And theologically, I know, and what the Bible teaches, there will be persecution to the end. So I'm just going to, keep going until I can't. Yeah. But one of the things, and we just got about a minute or so to go, why do so many people lose their vision for what God has called them? Because I know that in this book, it's you're a fire starter. That's what I see this book as.
I'm glad you're reading it.
Yeah,
but
it's great.
The thing is, people start out with a vision, and then it gets hard. You have to be tough to keep a vision and see a dream realized. And because he doesn't tell, makes it sound like fun. We're going to Promised Land. We're going for a boat ride. He doesn't talk about the storm or the Red Sea. And so people quit and give up. But when you've got a vision and you keep it in front of you, you close your eyes, you see it, You can't stop. And right now, our goal is to raise up an army of healing evangelists in Canada. And we're seeing that. I'm pouring everything into the next generation, doing a conference in Toronto next month with a lot of our friends to pour into the next generation. And because it's time, we have to see an army of healing evangelists raised up in Canada. And so we appreciate you guys. We appreciate Huntley Street. And people can get all the information about the book or the conference next month with... We've got people like Benny Hinn and Terry Copeland Pearsons and John Arnott and Robert Slaridan coming to pour into the next generation, and they can get all the information on our website.
And that's what we need to do. And it's, I was just thinking, even our little church back in St. Albert, Alberta, where I live, young people on fire for the Lord. I was at a Bible school in Winnipeg, the Miller College of the Bible. Young people meeting in downtown Winnipeg. They're excited.
Isn't it encouraging?
And, and really what's cool about this, Bill, is some of the older folks that maybe stopped going to church during COVID or whatever, they're starting to catch the fire. And I'm thinking, well, how come I'm so optimistic and positive in this dark world? It's because we know that God is working.
I've never been more encouraged. And not only is God raising up an army of young people, there's an army of elderly people, seniors that are rising up and going to do it. The Calebs and Joshuas. So I've never been more excited, never been more encouraged. I'm happy, and I'm happy to be at Huntley Street. This is great.
Well, I'm just happy to have you here,
God
and
bless you.
we stir each other up. That's a part of what
I know.
It's working in God's kingdom. So, Vision: Pursuing Your Life's Mission by Bill Prankard. You got to get this book. As I mentioned, Bill talks about some of the folks in the Bible that maybe even didn't see their vision fulfilled, like people like Abraham and even Moses. They got a glimpse into the promised land. But some of us are getting to see what God is doing. Get the book. You can go to bpea.com. And again, you want to spark your vision or somebody in your family, get the book. Bill, good seeing you, brother.
God bless you, Greg.
Yeah, we'll see you soon. We'll be right back.